So Mark and I have been looking at schools for Jude, and the most important things in my head.
The SEND crisis, the lack of funding in education, the ridiculous expectations and pressures put on teachers thanks to things like Ofsted and the decimation of every public service over the past 15 years of austerity measures. No, she says it's the biggest issues in schools, she says, are nutrition and screen time. Right, the nutritious thing, I'm not really going to talk about. Again, I think that just links to the lack of funding in education. But the screen time thing, I'm sick to death of hearing. I don't debate that excessive screen time is a massive issue. But what I keep on saying is that not all screen time is equal. And what she talks about wanting in a school as far as getting outside, playing, exploring, being creative, I guarantee that happens in so many schools more than a child sitting on a screen during class. But that doesn't mean there isn't a time for children to use technology effectively in school. It's also mentioning screen time in schools isn't an issue because for most primary schools, they can't afford to buy any tech at the minute to even just teach the most basic computing. So if you're thinking children are going to be sat on a screen watching films all day, what schools are you visiting? Now, I get the mindset she's got about how screens are being used because for the vast majority of children outside of school, they only ever use the technology as consumers. They're watching things, they may be playing video games, and there may well be a time and place for that in small doses. And obviously parents can put limits on how much time children spend on screens, but a lot of them don't. And for a lot of children, they end up jumping on social media platforms way earlier than they should be. There's no time limits and they are being exposed to some of the most harmful and dangerous content that is having a knock-on impact to all different aspects of children's lives. That isn't happening in schools. Now, don't get me wrong, you might use the technology as a consumer. You might play a little bit of Times Tables Rockstars to help children practice their quick maths facts. You might use a consumer app to listen to an author read a story out loud. There is a time and place for that. But the way that I use technology in my school is about going beyond being a consumer to actually creating through the tech. And there are two questions I always ask when it comes to using technology in class. Number one, is it going to save me time? But number two, most importantly, what is the technology adding to this task that we could not do on paper? And if the answer is nothing, we do not use it. For example, the way I use technology creatively is I get children to record their voices, explaining their learning, which they can instantly listen back to, reflect and improve on. And I find that really builds confidence. It supports children with their writing, but then it also can give children, those children who have that understanding, that knowledge, but can struggle to put it across on paper, like my son, who is dyslexic, it removes barriers for them to access the curriculum. Dictation tools and other amazing ways in which technology can be used are incredible to support children with different SEND needs. So look, the way that technology is used outside of school, very different to what's done inside of school. It's never done for an extensive length of time, but ultimately it's about how we use the screens. And in schools, that's where we're able to educate children about using them creatively, positively, so that they can learn the skills that they are going to need in the rich digital world that they're growing up into. Screen time has to be meaningful, monitored and moderated. That can happen in school, but doesn't always happen at home, which is where these issues are being caused. In school, we have to teach the computing curriculum. We have to prepare children for the world they're growing up into. And tech use, when it's used effectively, can have many, many benefits. You can't just have this blanket, all screen time is bad. Excessive screen time, too much, not getting the right balance, that's up for discussion, but not all screen time is equal.